Hey everyone, welcome to another special edition of Talking Elite Fitness. Sean Woodland, joined by me, Tommy Marquez. We are going to announce the next athlete that's in line to join the TYR Wodapalooza SoCal TYR Cup. It's a special competition, but before we do, and we're going to hear from that athlete in just a second too, just a quick refresher, a little explainer video kind of detailing everything that involves the TYR Cup and the competition this year. Wodapalooza are excited to bring to the world a competition that's the first of its kind. Introducing the TYR Cup. TYR Wodapalooza is expanding the celebration from Miami all the way to SoCal. The TYR Cup's home will be none other than the iconic Huntington Beach. The TYR Cup is a 3-day head-to-head team matchup of athletes proudly repping their nationality and region, North America versus the world. Big teams means big prizes. In the inaugural year, the winning team will take home a whopping $160K, with the runners-up receiving $40K and a $10K cash prize for the single MVP of the weekend, propelling their team to victory. How do teams work? Teams are comprised of the best athletes in the world, 4 men and 4 women per squad, with a male and female captain. Adding to the excitement, captains get to pick their 4th and final male and female teammates. The TYR Cup events close out each day of competition and feature the following unique fitness test types. Individual. All athletes from all teams compete in the same workout against each other in same-gendered heats. All hands. This test finds all 8 athletes working together in some form or fashion, whether relay style at the same time or in a team style metcon. Spotlight. Teams nominate 1 male and 1 female based on specific skill sets, including a strength test, a gymnastics test, and a monostructural test. Miami team. 3 guys and 3 girls perform separate workouts each, with 1 male and 1 female sitting out. CrossFit Games team. This brings together teams of 2 men and 2 women with 2 different workouts. Captains. This event has team captains take the stage and will make up the final event of the weekend. Teams will strategize to put their best athletes on the floor, depending on the event and their strengths, to represent their squad. Teams gain a point per event win, with the team with the most event victories at the end of the weekend taking home the hardware. Who will be the inaugural TYR Cup champions? Find out for yourself. Huntington Beach, September 20th through the 22nd. Be there.
That's a solid voiceover job right there, Tommy.
It's no Sean Woodland, I'll tell you that. I was doing my best to channel the years of me standing on the sidelines watching you just bring the heat on those things. Do the best that I could. So.
That event's going to be a blast, man. I'm a big fan. So
yeah, I think it's going to hold a special place for us, particularly because we're both California natives. NorCal, but still,
down I-5, man. We're right there. It's going to be awesome. So we're here for our second live announcement of our 3rd athlete. We already have announced 2. You and Lauren did a couple days ago.
Yep. Yeah, we had Jeff Adler as the first athlete announced. He may have let it slip a little bit early during an interview with Dave Castro, but he's the first athlete from North America. The first athlete from Team World is Tia Toomey, the 6-time champ, and we actually are ready to announce our 3rd athlete. It's going to be the 2nd athlete from North America, and here's a quick little sneak peek.
With an event win to start off day 3, and she is going to sweep the final 3 events to head back to Madison, Wisconsin.
It would not be a good vibe for Huntington Beach if we didn't have a little Danielle Brandon energy, and she's joining us now to chat about her involvement in the event.
With
Danielle,
her dog.
And Cash.
Yeah.
And Cash. Hey guys.
How's it going?
I'm so excited. Those videos were so cool.
Yeah, it's I think this is a fantastic take on the team competition. And you've been part of something like this before in other competitions. What is it about the team format that you like?
Yeah, so I got to do the Fit Fest kind of showcase last year, and I think maybe that was the first time we've kind of seen something more like this, and so I'm really excited to be able to do it in California. And I don't know, it was just so fun. Like I got to really connect with other athletes, but then also it's just like this different competitive side of you. And I mean, team is so hard. Like I give so much props to teams because all of us trying to come up with strategy was extremely hard. And I will say, like, even though we won last year, my team with like Ariel, Turi, and all of us, we every time had the worst strategy. And we somehow won. Like we had the worst strategy every time. So I'm hoping that's not the case for Team North America this year.
Yeah, you. I believe you had a quote that said, "The thing about teaming up with individuals is we're good individuals." So maybe sometimes that can kind of overcome strategy, I guess. But for this one too, like you saw in the explainer video, like there's a decent amount of money up for grabs. So is there going to be a little bit more like behind the scenes prep or a prep before the competition once we get to know the teams to maybe have a better strategy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think like hopefully too, with like the little bit of experience I've had doing some team, but also I think I don't know the team quite yet, but I know Adler's a smart guy, and I'm hoping he can bring some really good wisdom and good strategy. And yeah, I'll definitely be prepping for this event. I think it's like even though it's out of season, I think it's very worthwhile to kind of like prep for and have some fun. So
what were those conversations like over in the UK when you guys were trying to see your approach?
They were so chaotic. I mean, I think like the final was a really funny one. The one the one with the muscle ups had like worm in there. That one, I remember like we had a strategy going out onto the floor, and we were all like, trying to come to the same page with it. And then I think right before I was like, this is wrong. This is not the strategy. But we were like stuck with it. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, like after the event played out and we like barely lost or something, we were all like, dang it, like we should have done that strategy. So it was always kind of like that. Like we were so set on one thing and we'd be like, yeah, like that's good, right? But we were all so unsure of it. And then it'd play out and we'd be like, yeah, like we should have done that. We did have some help from Turi's coach.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name, her old coach. Mm-hmm. He used to compete, I think, and Andre Houdet.
Yeah, from No Shortcuts.
Mm-hmm. Like some help from him, but yeah, it was really difficult without having like a coach or really anyone on our team that was a big team athlete. Mm-hmm. Like really, it was just like, how can we capitalize like on individual strengths and have it come together as a team? And it was just like, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
At the UK event, you were a captain. The captain in this format for the TYR Cup carries a little bit of different weight because one, you have to pick the last male and female athlete. And there's a captain specific head-to-head. And like there's a few other formats where you kind of have to take the lead on. Like, do you want that smoke? Because I think it's going to be a vote. So that's something that you're like, I'd just rather step back.
I don't like. I'll be honest. I don't think I want that smoke. Like, I think what I'm good at is, I think I'm really good at being a voice for other people, for people who maybe necessarily aren't good at kind of like taking that initiative. I think I can be really good at that, but I don't have like the good strategies or like the knowledge with that stuff to kind of back it up. So if I need to be a voice for somebody, awesome, but I don't need to be the captain. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping like the captain is somebody, who one has fitness to back up being a captain, but also is like, is really smart there. But I don't think like I need to be the captain. I don't want to be.
There's all this debate about how do we get the best athletes in the world in person competing outside of the season on a regular basis. And it seems like events like this are a great way to do that because I mean, the way I see it, it's like, this does not seem like it's going to be something that ruins you and throws a wrench into your training for, some bigger events that are to come. Why are events like this appealing to you? I mean, obviously the money is one of them, but
Right.
why do you enjoy that?
Oh yeah. I mean, because it's a 3-day event and, we're told that it is a lighter load.
Mhm.
And I mean, you're competing with 5 other, it's 6-person team, 8-person team.
Mhm.
So it's like the work being split up with other people, plays a huge part because we're obviously not doing like these individual workouts all by ourselves. So the volume is just significantly lower.
Mhm.
And it's just fun. It's so appealing. And I think it's so smart for the sport because we need to like have more athletes showing face out there, especially like the best ones, right? Like
Yeah.
I think hearing even Tia, like that Tia is doing it is so good for the sport. Like Tia is one of the best in the world. And to have her at an event like this, I think is like so awesome. And it's appealing even to just like, I don't know, get to be outside of the season with the bigger name athletes,
Mhm.
like for myself even.
Yeah. Because
It's cool.
yeah, really, there's only like a handful of ways you get to compete against some of the best in the sport. Like honestly, throughout your career, right? Like you think about
Right.
traditional sports where there's like football, basketball, baseball. You get so many opportunities to take the playing field, and it's just not the case here. But
Right.
even if maybe you don't like want to take the lead on the captainship, one thing I think you'd be good at, based on the last time we saw it, outfits. You guys in the UK rocked the football kits.
It looks so good.
I don't know anything we can expect. We got Southern California, we got a little LA vibes, maybe something fun there.
Oh, I'm like really excited. And so I'm even more excited to hear who my team is. So we can get going on that. Because we definitely in the UK, it was so cool to have everybody be able to do the jerseys, even with like different sponsorships. It was really cool to see, the other athletes and their sponsorships like really hop on board with that. Because it's like another way to kind of make it fun and get more eyes and just show attention to the sport. Like it's so cool.
As we saw in the beginning, there's some money on the line here. $20,000 to each member of the team. And I know that this is a quote unquote, hey, fun event. But at what point does the fun kind of go out the window? And now it's like, hey, we're fighting for some good walking around money here.
Oh yeah. And I think that's they're smart, right? Because FitFest UK was awesome, but I think a lot of us, I guess we had been kind of training at this point, but the time of year that this SoCal event is at, it's not necessarily like a time many of us, I think, would be like training like very seriously. But now I'm like, okay, like how can I like kind of get a little more serious with my training? Because we do want to win. And I think also knowing that you have like so many other teammates, kind of like you don't want to be the weakest link. So I'm definitely going to be training harder than usual for a out of season competition.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good motivator. And speaking of training, we're right in the thick of it. Now I look at my what date it is. We're in the final lead up, for the CrossFit Games, and a lot of new stuff. New venue, new location, maybe some new twists. First and foremost, how's the prep going? How's training going? And what are you thinking of what's been revealed so far?
Yeah. Ooh, prep and training is going awesome. It's definitely different than normal years. I'm kind of just like training alone, which I think has been just really great for the mental and emotional side of things. But also like that has its pros and cons, right? But I'm like super healthy. I'm probably the most healthy I've ever been this season. I'm not really working around any major injuries. So that's great news. And yeah, the events that have been announced, I think for me personally, I get a little like, oh, like stop announcing so many events. I think because I like to be just really not surprised at the games, but I don't like when we get the opportunity to prepare for certain events. Like I think that is like CrossFit is like you show up to the CrossFit Games and you have no idea, right? Because we're all preparing for the unknown, and I want to like keep it that way because now that we know Chad, it's like, is this going to come down to like who's like prepped the best for it rather than like who was just prepared so well with their training. So I'm like getting a little antsy about that. I'm like, how many more events are they going to announce? Like, please stop. Like, I'm like, Cooper, like, is this normal? Do they normally announce as many events? Like, so, but it's good. I'm glad they announced that there's an open water swim. I think that kind of made me nervous because I saw in one of the comments, they were like, aren't there gators? And I'm like,
oh, jeez. Oh, come on, bro. Who put that in the comments?
I'm
why would you do that?
out. I'm like, are we swimming with alligators? I'm like, first, like, are there alligators in Fort Worth?
the amount of Google hits that has happened, that has hit in like the last week. Yeah.
Because of this one random guy who like commented gators. And I'm like, oh.
You think back to your first time at the game, so to now where you are in 2024. What's the difference in how you approach it now as opposed to when you approach it early in your career?
Oh my gosh. I mean, early in your career, of course, expectation. And you kind of, when you're so early in your career, you don't really know. You have this sense of what your strengths and weaknesses are, but you really don't find out until you do an event at the games. And now I have such a better idea of like, I should be good at this, or like, okay, this probably won't be that good for me. So, I mean, it's just expectation really, I think, for yourself and what you should be doing on events.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, you think early on, a lot of athletes, when they first go to the games, they're just kind of this freeing, like, I'm just going to go and see what happens, without those expectations. But in that same vein, you mentioned how, like, the further along you get, the less you want, other athletes the opportunity to practice. You want the curveballs, your athleticism take over, and your experience. So it's like, how do you find that sweet spot of, just being free in that moment to just go out and drop the hammer?
I mean, I think for me personally, every event is like, unless it's a handstand event, this is not a lack of confidence thing. I think it's like my brain playing naive with itself of like, no event outside of a handstand event is like a good event for me. Like I truly am just like, I'm just going to like do what I can. And if I do what I can and it is one of the best, that's awesome. But I think I kind of like play this naive game with myself of like, no event is good for me, but not in a demeaning sense of like a lack of confidence of like, oh, this isn't a good event for me. It's just like, cool, I like this event. I either like really like the event or I'm like, oh, like this event is a little, but
yeah.
I don't know. I take it for what it is. And I would say like, I very much am how I was as a rookie, where I'd be like, oh, I really like this event. It'd be really cool if I did well, but like, we're just going to have to wait and find out.
Kind of smooths out the roller coaster,
Yeah. Oh, totally. And like, I think that's been like a continuing theme in my experience at competitions for myself, because it is like smoothing out that roller coaster, like of not getting too high or too low, because if you get really high, that makes the lows even lower. If you get really low, makes the highs really high. And I've never been one to get super, super high, unless like, it's been like a handstand event. But I think even last year when I won like the handstand event, most people are like, why isn't she like jumping? And I'm like, I'm more just like relief. Like this is relief that like we did what I was supposed to do. And in any event that I do well, it's like, okay, cool. Like,
the last time we talked to you, I think was right around when the documentary came out about you. How has that experience, this is a two-part question. First, how has that experience changed you?
Ooh, I think just like the support from people and like the fans of this sport, and even people in my life just support me no matter what. I think it's really cool to see that no matter what I do in CrossFit, like I still have the support. I don't know. It's cool. It's been like a really, like I just have a lot of gratitude. And I think like it makes a lot of the moves that I do and how I like live my life. It's all like out of gratitude, and I just want to like give back as much as possible. And I think even doing a documentary about my life, showing how much of an impact that can have, it's the small things. And I don't know, it's just all about giving back, and I want to try to give back as much as possible, and just support and gratitude. I don't know. Those are like some overarching themes.
And then the second part of that is, how has it changed the way, if at all, people are treating and reacting to you?
I don't think it's changed. I think that is really cool. Like even before this came out, I think that was something I was really scared of like, man, are people going to like approach me differently or speak to me differently? And not really. Like I have the select few that were, of course, like, you know, you see comments of like, man, I wasn't really a fan, but like maybe hearing this, you're like, oh, okay. Like she makes more sense. So of course, I think that's changed some people, which I think is really good. Like, you know, I'll admit as myself and just being a human, you know, you kind of see somebody and you have this idea about them and you know, put judgment on them, but then you hear something about them and it kind of like changes that for you. And I think we're all human and we all do that. And so I think it's cool to see that effect on some people with me, but I've had support no matter what. Like people support me before it, and the fact that they support me even more and still after it, like I think it shows that I've done like a pretty good job and not, I don't know, just like always kind of being myself and staying like being consistent and like true to who I am, as cheesy as that is. Like I didn't need this documentary to like change people's thoughts about me drastically.
I was going to say that has to be kind of a relief, right? Because there is an aspect, like a deep vulnerability that you have to do to kind of open up your life story and showcase, you know, how you got to be where very few people like in this world have a, you know, a documentary about them, you know, from the time. And it's like, I have to show everything about my upbringing, from my life, my friends, my family, whatever that may be. Like that takes a huge amount of vulnerability. And I guess you said it's only human to wonder, like, is that going to change people's view of me?
Yeah. It's cool to see. Like it, you know, I didn't need it to like change a lot about me, and people still see me for who I am regardless of the documentary.
I think that's what made it good too. Like honestly, like I think that's what made it really resonate with people. It's like, oh, there isn't this like flip-floppiness of like what we see in person on the competition floor to like what's being portrayed. It was like there was that air of authenticity, which I think made it so popular, and what like I thought it was one of the best pieces of media in the CrossFit space that's been put on in a long time. So you know, hats off to you for you know, being a part of that and being willing. But
thank you. I had a good, like the people who did it, I mean, props to them. It was all them, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Danielle, I know games training, everything like that is getting dialed up. I really want to thank you for coming on, being a part of this announcement, and you know, taking the time, you know, during this busy time to join us and you know, be the next athlete in line and hopefully see some fun outfits in SoCal.
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you, guys.
And bring Cash out to California.
I know.
For team captain. I think
we need it for team.
North America's
jersey, the whole 9 yards. You'll outfit him in a whole kit. It'd be great.
Yes.
I love it. Right. Well, thanks everyone who joined us live. If you're just joining us, or if you've been following along for the first two, we'll be back again on Saturday, same time, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll be doing that Saturday and Monday, basically every 2 days for 6 total announcements. So thanks again, everyone, for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. For Sean Woodland, Danielle Brandon, I'm Tommy Marquez, and we'll see you guys next time.